take us not to cop out as citizens of this country, to make sure that we hold those that we have voted for accountable, to understand that they cannot just get away with things and all the justice has to be served. We have every right as citizens, and anything that supersedes everything is the constitution of this country. It's there to protect us. If we feel that we've been treated unfairly by some officials or politicians somewhere and all of that, they can never be above the law and just untouchable in that sense. We have seen serious politicians still tortured and touched, so we can go through to anyone. So we need to hold people accountable as a society and stop hoping that someone is going to come and save us. I don't believe there's any politician, unfortunately myself, that is going to come and save us. As long as we are not taking responsibility as citizens, we have more power than those that we voted for. That power vested in them, it was through us as we voted. Therefore, we must hold them accountable. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Absolutely. And do you know what it is? In different African countries, you have the different dictators, like in Zimbabwe, being a Zimbabwean myself, and when I look at the situation, how dire it is, and I think in South Africa you have that democracy rather, where you can actually march along the streets and say whatever you feel openly, and you will not be persecuted for that. And this is the problem that we have in Zim, where people try to speak up, but they get arrested, they get beaten up, they get killed, unalived. It is so difficult, but at the same time, I understand the frustration of South Africa, where foreigners are coming in. Of course, it cannot be sustainable in the long run. It cannot, because we have to fight for our own countries ultimately. But the problem is there's a lack of unity within those countries, within that population, and when you look at it, the disparities of, if you look at equity, the people that can actually come up and say, you know what, we're fed up of this and this and that. It's only the people who are in higher positions who can actually say those things. And then the population who are deprived of accessing the appropriate resources have no say. They have no voice. It is so hard. I understand the frustration of South Africa. I really do. And I can imagine, I can guarantee you this. If Zimbabwe was in the situation that it was in, no Zimbabwe would have left. I wouldn't have left Zim. Never in a million years. Because I had the most amazing childhood. And I even vowed that I would never bring my children up where I am in Europe. I would be in Zim. But the economy just doesn't favor you, So it is very difficult. And I keep saying the impunity of the crimes that are committed the threshold is so low. It is so low. This is why it keeps happening and happening and happening. So we need to find a solution as Africans, not as Zimbabwean, not as you as South African, but as Africans. Where do we go with this? Where do we go with it?
Dama, you know what saddens me the most is that exactly what you're just saying. The phenomenon in this African continent is that corruption that we have seen throughout. So South Africa was actually last to be decolonized. Look at these other countries that were decolonized before us, and look at where they are today. The infrastructure and many other things. Things are just falling apart. And exactly what you're saying now, you know what? That's a sad part. We have smart people like you that could actually impact and do a whole lot of things there, and you are not even having a democracy where you can express yourself freely. The democracy that we have today, the moment you start speaking there, you are vocal, you disappear, you're nowhere to be found, type of thing. And guess what? It's a black man. There's no white person now that is ruling and running Zimbabwe. It's black people that are there. It's your Mnangagwa that are selfish and I was looking looking at the attempt and the coup to actually, dethrone him and all of that. But guess what? Whoever that is going to be there, it's just got the same mentality as others. It's just going to do the same thing. It is an African phenomenon. All these other countries, people are corrupt. And here's what I'm going to tell you that is very interesting about us South African. We are resilient and very great people that goes all out to fight. We fight. We fought to actually get the freedom that we have today and the democracy that we have, that we embrace today, and the constitution that we so have. But let me tell you the problem. We always want to be reactive. We don't necessarily want to deal with the root cause of the situations that we find ourselves in. Like, for example, if you see a nyaupe boy, there's a lot of nyaupes in South Africa, and which is very sad, and to see how these people were powderized and now addicted and really having lost value and purpose in life. Guess what? If you find that guy stealing a phone or food, guess what happens? There's a thing called mob justice. They might unalive that guy. But okay, it's fine. So that means that it's a rage and people are not happy with what is going on. They're trying to act and do something. But if you can have the same energy that you used to go and unalive a nyaupe boy that is purposeless, why don't you think about, with the moment you see that someone has got a fake identity and home affairs, some syndicates, that are releasing some identity to people and everything, you have heard about it, and you feel that you don't have a say, you can't do anything about it and all that, but you have the audacity and the strength to go and unalive someone that stole pap, someone that, somehow been failed by the systems of this country by allowing other people who are powderizing this country, and some of them maybe even involved officials. But when you have to hold these officials accountable, the guys that are the cause of these problems, you feel that you are small or you are not big enough to actually deal with that. If you have a police services failing you got IP to deal with. You got commercial radio stations that you can use to vent out and speak out and just get something viral until someone stand and really understand that they cannot get away with it and be held accountable. As citizens, uniting together and making sure that we fight against this corruption. For as long as we have people that feel that every time when there's they drive on the road and there's a problem with their car or something, and they can pop out 100 rand and give that traffic officer, you must know you are adding to the value chain of corruption. It will be so, and we will always cry together to say we have this problem, we have that problem. People are bribing their ways through borders, people are bribing their ways through home affairs everywhere and everything. Who is making this environment to be so conducive for people to be comfortable doing all these things? Our officials. These are people of our own. The enemy is our own. The enemy in Zimbabwe is your own. The enemy in Nigeria, elsewhere, everywhere, is this corrupt, selfish, self-centered leaders that are not held accountable enough. All we do, we always jump down and deal with the immediate situation of a nyaupe that is stealing in your house. We are not holding these people accountable, and we keep on hoping that someone is going to come. There's going to be a new party that is going to come and rescue us and help us. We have seen these new parties everywhere in Africa, but Africa is still poor today. The minerals are extracted here and taken out here by who? By the Western and the Europeans. So we are here, and our people are continually failing us, and we're doing less, and if not anything about it. That's the biggest problem we have.
Yeah, totally. I agree. The government has totally failed us. I won't speak too much, but Lueto, do you want to go?
Okay. You want to say something, Nelson? Nelson Mandela, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say something. Sorry. In South Africa, we don't have law. So if in our communities we can form our own organizations that will protect us from rape children, women from rape, and all the community from house robberies, all that stuff, and all kinds of crimes. We form our organizations that will, if maybe we catch a suspect, we deal with the suspect. If it's caught by police, the police will deal with it in court. But if it's caught by us, we have to commit a mob justice. We can do that. We can do that because I see only that as a solution in our communities. There's no other solution. I don't know how you see. There's no other solution. For more than 30 years, we were suffering. That's the only solution. I can't say anything else. That's our solution. Okay. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, well, taking things in your own hands, taking the law into your own hands, I don't think is a solution at the end of the day. What you're doing is perpetuating the situation. You're just making it worse because the more you unalive people of whom you think have committed atrocities or crimes, right? And they have nothing to do with it. What it only does is bring in the mob who feel are being attacked and have nothing to do with it.
But criminals are free.
You are making a biased assumption that the criminals who are doing this thing are foreigners. When I look at it,
no, I'm not foreigners.
Okay. When I look at it from many years ago, I've heard a lot of discussions on TikTok and all of that about it is Nigerians who are doing this, it is Zimbabweans who are doing it. I'm not a biased person. I come from a very objective opinion and a very critical thinking opinion. That's me. How do you come to the conclusion that this person has done this because you all of a sudden have realized, oh yeah, they're Nigerian, they're Zimbabwean, it must be them. When I look at it back in the 80s or 90s or whatever, I never went to South Africa as beautiful as it sounded. And I think during that time there was apartheid. I was scared. We always heard scary stories about going to South Africa because there's lots of crime and this and that. And it's still happening. Yet you turn around and say it is foreigners. The crime has still been there, but I am not dismissing insignificant the fact that it may have increased with illegal foreigners because people are looking to survive and they will do anything. And I don't condone that. That is wrong. You don't come into someone's country and perpetuate violence and crime. That is wrong. For even my own Zimbabwean people, I do not condone that. But there's this theme. There's a theme that goes on that it is because of foreigners. How do you justify that? How?
Can I answer you? Mm-hmm. Because I feel like you are biased in a way. And in South Africa, we do things the way that South Africans do things. You know what Nelson has said that we need and we will and we do as South Africans. That's how we do things, even to South Africans, not to foreigners.
Yeah.
Us as South Africans, we do not say when we see a South African is committing a crime, we say, no, it's okay because he's a South African. What we do, we show the others that you do not do this because this will happen to you. And when you're gonna say, I think it's one of the things that you do not understand about South Africans when they're saying, can we be alone so that we can deal with these crimes that you've been talking about? Because we've been dealing with it for so many years. The crimes that are committed by South Africans in South Africa, they are our business. But now, if you're gonna come and tell South Africans how to handle their business, it is a problem because we living in this country, we see everything. We hear, we see everything. Imagine, I want to get your name right, Dama. You are somewhere in a clinic in South Africa. You hear the name, the person next to you. You see, she's a Zimbabwean, and this person is Nomatamsanqavuza. She's been called Noma. She's not even a Zimbabwean. Let me not say Zimbabwean. She's an Ethiopian. Nomatamsanqavuza. She gets up, she goes. You are thinking to yourself, did I hear right? Because this person that I'm sitting next to is not a South African. She's not a Xhosa person. How come is she Nomatamsanqavuza? And you are thinking to yourself, Nomatamsanqa lost her ID. And then here she is next to me. She's an Ethiopian. Or she is Biza. There's other what do you call Somalians? Exactly. She's a Somalian. Nomatamsanqavuza. How come are you an Ethiopian? If you go to Nomatamsanqa and you speak isiXhosa basi siyifumene kanjani le ID, uzokuphendula. She's not gonna answer you.
Next.
In that situation, what else do you want? Do you want any other evidence? How did she get my ID? Let's say Nomatamsanqa is sitting amongst these people in the same clinic and she hears her name. She's been called and the address is the same as hers. What do you do? What do you do, to be honest?
It's a fight.
What do you do as a South African? Because at the end, you know, when we're saying these things, we would sound like we are people who are hateful and all. And you're not even in a clinic at this point. You are somewhere in SASA. You are collecting your baby's grant. You are hearing this. And you're thinking, I'm paying a tax for my South African people to get this SASA grant, but I'm sharing it. I know Ethiopians, they do get it because their government does contribute in SASA, and Somalians as well. Think South Africans, they do not know of that, but I know they do contribute in that tax. But when you hear a different name, because they still need to have their own IDs, whatever that they bring when it comes to the collection of SASA. But when you hear the name and you're like, how did this person get to these, to be Nomatamsanqavuza? And you're still gonna ask if how I mean, those things, I don't want to lie, my South Africans, we need to normalize it to a point whereby, I'm sorry, somebody would say that I'm inciting violence, but when you hear those things in those places that I've mentioned, please do not take it lightly. Take a photo of the person. Make sure that you take a picture so that we can hunt that person down and ask questions as South Africans, because we need to understand. We are not playing, guys. I don't want to lie. It is not nice. It is not something that is nice, because South Africans, they have welcomed foreigners in their countries. They have given them a shelter. Look at this family who was unalived by a Zimbabwean, and you still want us to look for answers. As a community, I give you a place to stay. You decide to unalive the rest of us in my house.
Yeah, I totally get that. It is totally unacceptable. But these things happen all over the world.
No. That's the thing that I hate. No. Just a sec. It doesn't happen. It mustn't happen in South Africa. It can happen to all of these countries. But as South Africans, we are very poor in South Africa. We have no other South Africa but this one, and we have no energy to leave South Africa and flee somewhere else. We need to make sure as South African we preserve a place for us as South Africans, which is a South Africa. So it can happen to these other places, but in South Africa we will never normalize it. I want us as South Africans, if you are listening right now, don't ever normalize a crime just because it happens all over the world. It mustn't happen specifically in South Africa.
Okay, I get you. And there's 90% of South African men committing those crimes, right? And there are South Africans around the world in Mauritius who are being arrested for powder, being arrested for powder. So it is not just foreigners coming to South Africa doing that. South Africans are also doing that in other parts of the world.
Dama,
and if you look at it, and if you look, hang on.
Dama, I'm sorry to get into your mouth. I'm sorry to do that, but please bear with me. Please bear with me. As you've never been into South Africa, I will hang on. I promise you, I will
I've lived in South Africa for your own information.
I thought you said you couldn't live in South Africa. You couldn't.
There, and I will not come back
of
there.
Crime in South Africa.
Yes,
I heard you saying that you were very scared because you heard there was a lot of it. Oh, you did.
I lived there. Hence, I will
so
not
you need
come
to
back
bear
there.
with me. Let me explain that to you. As South Africans, it doesn't matter who commits crime as a South African. Deal with them the way that you want to. We will never come to this platform as South Africans and protect those kind of people. And on top of that, in case you do not know what I've just mentioned right now, there's many South Africans who are not South Africans who are dealing with what you've just mentioned right now, and you will think that those are South Africans. If you think South Africans, they do care about those people, South African men, they don't even date foreigners. And imagine when South African men is jabbering around with the powder. I mean, guys, we have embarrassed our men to the core as South African women. Our South African men, they do not act like that. They are they are gentlemen. They've got status.
If you say so.
Yeah, I do say so. I am 100%. I can proudly say so. I could not say so when I'm talking about the woman, but when I'm talking about the man, I can say so. Please bear with me as I've asked you to do so, because I'm a South African. I'll tell you some things that are South African doing. In South Africa, you want me to listen?
I don't.
I'm asking you to bear with me.
I don't like
it. It is not an argument, because now you've touched South Africa. You've touched me to the heart, especially when you're gonna touch a man of South Africa who is poor fighting for his dignity in South Africa, because it has been dragged by a foreigner in South Africa. And you want me to listen to you because now you are in a defensive mode of saying that South African men, they also do that. They can do that, and whoever country that they've caught a South African man drug trafficking, I'm telling you right now, Dama, they must make sure those rot in hell. We do not care as South Africans. We do not give a damn as South Africans. But I know South African men, they are very, beautiful soul people who knows exactly what they stand for. Those are South African men. I'm not talking about the crimes and criminals. Not that I said we are perfect, but I'm talking about our men in South Africa. We have embarrassed those people by dating these foreigners who has led these ladies to go in these countries and make sure that they feed them with powder in their bellies and carry those powders. because the status of South Africa, they will pass those borders and they will make money. We have embarrassed those people. I agree with you. But what I'm saying to you, if you do not want to listen and you are busy want to defend, we don't give a damn. They must rot in hell if they are caught with drugs.
Okay. Yeah.
Dama, I just wanna.
But I am. Wait. I'm not one to. I don't believe in arguing. I'm someone who stands with opinions, and I'm very objective.
Okay, yeah. Tama, here's just what I want to say here. I think you need to understand where Ulechi is coming from. I'll tell you the frustration that we find ourselves in as South Africans. We are the only country in Africa that is actually has got a serious influx of foreign nationals, and that's just a fact. We're talking fast facts here now. Yeah. Now, with that said, you must understand that it can never be easy for anyone to actually be in our shoes and understand it. To have I'm not even talking about sympathy, but I want to particularly say empathy for someone to actually put themselves in our shoes to understand. You will have people like Jaid Osanai, I think he's a Nigerian, this guy. He would not even understand what we're talking about. The moment we start talking about the kind of a frustration that we deal with, and the fact is, even though we have a lot of, influx and a lot of foreigners in our country, and to mention just a few, the drop of some South African people, I think we might be involved in some staff crime here, and which is why the likes of Nelson and Lotu saying that we are dealing with this with mob justice and other. We have always been doing that. That is even many years ago, before we had an influx of foreign nationals and everything. But here's what I can tell you about us. The gentleness in terms of us visiting other countries, and most of us, we are not commonly known we are well traveled. We've been to many countries, but we have not been involved in most scandals when we get to other countries. We are not used to the culture of going and really somehow act illegally in other countries. But yes, we might be that we are involved in these situations in our own country. That I can attest. I'll be very objective about that situation. But as for us being arrested all over the world, like your Nigerians, for argument's sake, those guys commonly known, they are unwanted everywhere. UK, everywhere, these people are they're like a rush. These people are problematic, and we have them, a lot of them here, powderizing our people. Am I saying that our people are not involved in there? Of course they are also involved. But let's always deal with the merits and try and deal with the issue at the end, to try and have a healing session where you guys get to understand where we come from. Let's not necessarily have a debate of the drop and the few that you know. If you have had 3, 4, 5 South Africans that ended up in Zimbabwe illegally, or maybe even start some tuck shop business and start selling counterfeit goods like Somalians. Look at the kind of crap we're dealing with here in this country. We have Somalians that are literally selling almost every product they're selling. It's a counterfeit stuff that is not even supposed to consume. Do you know of South Africans that is in Somalia somewhere or Nigeria having a tuck shop selling some counterfeit stuff? There are a lot. They are here, these people, and they have the audacity to come and have a debate with us to say, but you guys also, it's actually becoming irrelevant when we have a discussion of someone that is more hurt, more pressurized than the other. Our people having to deal with basic health care, because of we are paying tax and all that, but having to go and access that bed at the hospital, and there is maybe 50 more foreign nationals.
I have not disagreed with the influx of illegal foreigners coming into South Africa and pressurize. You have a pressure cooker. It can be so. The temperature can be so high that it would explode. I get it 100%. And you know what? From where I'm sitting right now, I wish, and I've been trying actually, to go to Zim and engage with our government about healthcare. Because I've been in England for 20 years? and I'm mastered. I've engaged and I'm academic and I'm educated and I've got all these masters and all of this stuff. And I'm thinking, why have I got these things? Why have I achieved all this? And I'm still here working for the YT, man. My determination and my resolution is to do it for my country. And the problem is, the barrier that is there is that the government does not allow you to do that. If we could get a gap to just get in, I'll be the first person to go to Zim and improve the healthcare because I'm mastered in improvement and healthcare, right? Do you get me? And it hurts so much that my brothers and sisters,
because 2018 they attempted to take a life just when this case was still fresh, and now they succeeded. So I was really heartbroken. I think judiciary is failing our women here in South Africa, and I was so heartbroken to see women celebrating that this guy is free, the church members celebrating that this guy is free. They were, yo guys, I don't know what is happening in this country. I don't know what is happening in this country, because what is happening here is bad, and that thing is not a church. That thing is a cult. That is no church. That thing is a cult.
All right, Brake, let's start here. Are you a church goer?
I used to be one, but not anymore.
No problem. So I hear you, bruh, and it makes sense. It makes sense. The thing is came and said, so I understand that, and you are having your views, and you are having what you saw because you are from there, and it makes sense. So all I'm